But what I'd like to bring to your attention this morning is the Washington Times article. The headline is, Jane Fonda becomes a born-again Christian. And I'm stunned that no one else has mentioned this morning in the light of the fact that she and her wonderful husband, Ted Turner, who I admire greatly, has made some pretty disparaging remarks about Christians and has kind of taken it on the chin. But according to this article, one of her longtime critics calls it a conversion, right up there with Saul of Tarsus. And I wonder if the Christians who are paying attention might pray for Jane. Thank you for everything, Brian. I love your show.
Thanks. And by the way, you must not have been listening earlier because we talked about this. And of course, when I need it, I can't find it. It's somewhere on the desk.
On the front of the Washington Times.
Oh, I know.
I only noticed it this morning.
I
couldn't believe it was the only paper I was seeing it in.
Well, it
appears to be an element in the separation between, if you can have her separation from Mr. Turner.
It came from here. It's an old story. Let's say what's today is the 14th. It started on January the 6th on a .com, a worldnetdaily.com. Joseph Farrow was responsible for the story, and the story in the Washington Times basically parrots what he said, and it says Fonda becomes born-again Christian, and she goes to the church, among other things, of her chauffeur down in Atlanta.
Yes.
And what would you like to? Are you a Christian?
I'm not.
What are you?
I'm not a member of any church. I don't think that there's any supernatural guidance. And
here's the article, by the way. In
I don't think my presence here is attributable to any form of divine intervention.
What did you make of the story?
I thought it was a sad little story.
Why?
Well, someone who's getting a bit old and a bit silly and perhaps lacking for attention, I would have thought it would have been content with being born once, which is all that, in fact, she's ever going to be. Or any of us are. We're only going to be born once. So all this born-again stuff just gets me down, gives me a pain.
Says in this article, I'm extremely impressed with the genuineness and the sincerity in her search for spirituality and wholeness. The Reverend Gerald Durley, pastor of the Providence Missionary Baptist Church in Atlanta, where Miss Fonda has attended services, told the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, I think she's found a certain sense of peace among people who found peace with Christianity.
So hard to object to, isn't it? You know what I think what I don't like, well, there's a lot of it I don't like, as well as finding it totally intellectually and morally unconvincing, is that this is the form that they believe modesty should take. It's going around all the time about how you've found God and how God has a special purpose for you. This is construed as humility. It seems to me the height of immodesty to say that you've been chosen in this way or selected, or that you could possibly know that you had been. It's arrogant and conceited and egotistic.